Hi guys, how are you all today? Hope you all can hear me and that everybody's doing well. You'll notice I have a little bit of holiday spirit behind me. This is the only tree in the house at this point, and it is not decorated yet, but hopefully by next week it will be. So I had some questions about the universal pen holder. I realize that's not a software question, but I'll be happy to answer it. There are two different universal pen holders. There's a small barrel holder and a regular one. So I'm going to show you the difference between the two, and then we'll start on a few software questions. Hi, Shirley. Hi, Robin. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Tamara. Good to see you all here. The gang's all rolling in. Good to see you, Judy. Hey, Tamara. So let's switch over and go to the ScanNCut area. Let me change my camera here. Happy Tuesday to you too, Judy, from Surprise. I saw somebody the other day today on TV, a World War II vet, that reminded me of Gomer Pyle. I was like, oh, that's Gomer. I was watching the Today Show. So let's look at the pen holders here. So the one with the white label on it's the small barrel pen holder, and this one's the regular one. So if you look, you can see there's a little tunnel in there for the small barrel. That's for pens. If you look at the difference between my two pens here, this one's thicker, this one's thinner. So when it gets to trying to grip this, it would go in the small barrel pen holder. This one would go in the regular. So if you take it, what you do is you place it in the barrel, make sure that this is right here, and we're going to place our pen holder and the pen itself into this little carriage thing. And you want the pen to touch the plastic. Then you're going to take this little guy right here, lift it up and twist it as far as you can get it so that it's nice and tight in there. And I may need to move mine a little bit more. And make sure that you can't push it down. If you push it down, it's going to be too far. So I need to back mine up a little bit and tighten it up a little bit more. There we go. So you'll notice that they lock into place. And if you can't turn it anymore, then that's as far as it's going to go. And then it puts in your machine just like you normally would. The small barrel does the same thing. It has its own little holder here. And I've got my pen in, and I'm going to take this and lift it up and basically put it right there. And then you can take and twist it. And you want to make sure that the grooves get caught, and then it shouldn't move. Now, you don't want to put a whole lot of pressure on it because your machine's not going to put a whole lot of pressure on it, but that's how the two work. Now, having said that, if your pen is somewhere in between, let's see if I've got any here. Yep. If your pen is somewhere in between, or you've somehow messed up your universal pen holder. Let me get one that's messed up, because I do have a one here. And you don't have the small barrel one and you want to use this pen. You can take some paper tape and thicken up where that's going to hit. So if you take and slide it in here and kind of figure out where it's going to hit, where it's going to grip, it'd be right around there. So let's say we put my tape right here. You can come in and just kind of give it a little bit of body so that it has something to grip onto. Okay, so there I've got something to grip onto. I'm going to put it in my pen holder that's kind of messed up and slide it in. And you'll notice that it has a little bit of grip there, so it's going to stick in a little bit better. Now, that's not official Brother approved, but it will work, okay? So I know that this pen holder right here, I've sprung the spring a little bit too tight on one of my pens. So this one is kind of loosey-goosey. And if I put that tape in there, it gives it enough grip that it won't move. And that's really what you're wanting it to do. So that's how the universal pen holder works. Hopefully that answered that question. So let's see here. Let me come back and answer the other questions. Let me change cameras. Okay, Patricia, you got my reply to the question. How about the applique part of the Kimberbell mug rugs? If it's an applique of the Kimberbell mug rug and you don't have an SVG for it, what you can do is change the color of the piece that needs to be cut to applique material on your luminaire. Once you've done that, you can then press the memory pocket and send it to your ScanNCut machine for it to read that. Okay. Somebody asked a question the other day, and I know that this is not technically a software question either, but it's okay, they scan something into their ScanNCut and they want to send it via my connection to their luminaire, and that is not possible at this time. I say at this time because it is a request. It was the first request I had when I got the beta version of the machine's software. So currently it is built-in content only on the ScanNCut side besides Disney. You can't do any of the Disney stuff either way. So, I mean, it's all of the 1,300 and however many patterns that are in there that are not Disney content that you can send over. You can't do Canvas workspace files and you can't do Disney. So, and you can't do things that you've scanned in. So that's really what you know. Now, if you scan something into the luminaire and you create an applique pattern of it there, that pattern can be sent over to the ScanNCut. It just doesn't work the scanning function from the ScanNCut to the luminaire. And the memory pocket is a totally separate memory pocket on the ScanNCut for my connection. Let me show you that, and you'll understand why. I don't have anything set up on my luminaire, but I can show you on the ScanNCut itself what I mean. Let me flip cameras over there. Which one is there we go. So when you're in your home screen, if you go to retrieve data and your memory pocket on your ScanNCut machine here, these are the items that are in my memory pocket here. Okay. Let's say I wanted to do this leaf and I wanted to transfer it over. You'll notice that the name of it was an M for memory pocket. When I press save, there's not a way to go to the luminaire. When I go over to my connection area and retrieve something, if I retrieve it out of the machine's memory, these are things that I've sent back and forth between my ScanNCut and my luminaire, and they have a different designator in front of them, a W. So that they're different memory pockets. And you can, if you send something over here, you can save it to your memory pocket, but it's only what you've sent back and forth between the ScanNCut machine and the luminaire itself. So that's something for you to keep in mind. Okay. I wanted to make sure that I had answered that question as well. Before I forget it, because y'all know me, sometimes I forget what we're doing. So we want to have to say, hey, let's go back in here. It's freezing cold in Michigan. Well, it's here in Tennessee. You'll notice I have a sweatshirt on today. It's so chilly. It was 26 this morning, but I'm sure it was colder in Michigan. We had 70 degrees here on Sunday, and it just is kind of up and down right now. And we'll have, I think, 70s again by this weekend. And then it's going to get cold again. Sandra, I would not put the heat and bond on it before I embroidered it. If I was making a patch out of it, I would create a patch and then place the heat and bond afterwards, just simply because if you place it before, then the stitches are going to be where the heat and bond is supposed to adhere to your item. So I would put my heat and bond on afterwards. Okay. All right, guys. Now, the other questions that I had, one of them is a BES Blue question, and this can be done in BES 4 as well. And it's one that I had never really thought about. Let's see if I can share what the person was wanting to do. Hold on a second. Let me find that email and see if I can share what they were wanting to do. Oh, my nose is itching today. Why is my nose itching so bad? Okay, let's see here. let me pop this over and share it to the other screen so y'all can see what she wants to do here. So let me share my screen. So she wanted to know how to make these little squares and circles for a jumble puzzle in BES Blue. And it's not an obvious way to do it. So I'm going to share with you how I would do it. Let's go over to BES Blue and take a gander at this one. So I'm going to go to my home page and I'm going to select new page. So this is our goal, something along these lines. Okay. So how would I go about it? Well, there's not a circle drawing tool in BES 4, but I'm going to go to my view tab first of all, and I'm going to put a grid up. You can change your grid preferences to however large you want them. Let's see here. What's my grid set at? Let's say we want it at a 1/2 inch. That's what I'm going to go for this time. And I'm going to go to my home tab now. Actually, I'm going to go to my tools tab and I'm going to grab my line drawing tool. To draw a straight line, hold your shift key down and left click. Take it over where you want to stop and left click again. Down to below, over. And then I would just close that line. Now you've got your basic shape, okay? And then to get the separate lines, do we want, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shrink that down. So we have 1/2 inch pieces. And I may have to make it bigger, we'll see. But then you're going to grab your line drawing tool and simply draw straight lines down where you want them. And once you've done one, you could actually copy and paste that. So I'll show you how to do that as well. So there's that one. I right mouse click to stop the line. To basically drag that over, if you hold the shift key and the control key down at the same time and drag it over, put it on top of the grid line that you want, let go of your shift key and then let go of the control key. It's made that duplicate. I'm going to do the same thing. If I can get my mouse liking me. But the key is, oops, undo. The key is letting go of that shift key before you let go of the control key. But if I don't hold my shift key down, it can go anywhere. If I hold my shift key down, it'll go in a straight key. Oops, you'll notice I forgot to let go of the shift key first. Control and shift, let go of the shift and then let go of the control key. Actually, the mouse. Control and shift, let go of the shift key, let go of the mouse. Oops, I moved. Anyway, you get the concept. So I'm going to shorten this so we're not here for days. And we're going to make this a smaller square, rectangle here. Now, if I wanted to add a circle, I would go to my home tab. Since there is not in our tools tab, there is not a circle drawing tool. I could draw a circle, but let's make life easier on ourselves and choose add designs. You have an applique circle shape. Draw it about a 1/2 inch. There we go. So instead of having it be a satin stitch, I'm going to change it to a run and apply. Well, I said I would do that. Run, apply. There we go. And the key here, we're going to choose right mouse click and say preserve as stitches and then get rid of the first 2 pieces. That leaves you with a run covering stitch that you can put down in your circle and you can make it bigger if you need to. You may want to wait to preserve as stitches until you've got it the exact size you want it to go. So let me delete that one and go back and try it again. Add design. I want it to be about like that. There we go. Now, satin, run, apply. Let's make sure that's going to fit in my circle. There we go. That's perfect. So now we'll preserve that as stitches. right mouse click, preserve as stitches, so that we can get rid of the first two parts of the applique, because all we want is that covering stitch. And then you can simply duplicate that as well to however many squares you wanted it to go to. So if I hold my control key down, I can move it to whatever circles I want it to go to. Now I've got to get my lines to stitch as well. So I'm going to select my piece that has all of my colors in it for those lines and go up to my Tools tab, and we will convert this one to an applique. So you'll notice it's all an applique right now. We are going to change it to a run as well, just like we did before. And then we're going to select all of those and preserve them as stitches. It didn't grab that last one, so let's preserve it as stitches as well. Anything where it still says applique, preserve it as stitches. And then take the first parts out of each of them. You can hold the control key down to keep doing it. You know that your blue is your covering stitch because that's the color that you selected. So now I've got all of those selected. I'm going to press delete on my keyboard, and there you go. You have your design ready to go. So I'm going to come back over here. Now, all the shortcuts. A lot of the shortcuts, Sandy, are general keyboard shortcuts for Office, Word, any drawing program. The control key usually selects multiple. Control and Shift, draw a straight line. It's just, it carries over from other programs. So a lot of the, and I'm a keyboard shortcut kind of girl. I would rather do that than have to go copy paste. So that's just my preference. You could certainly do copy and paste and move them where you want them to go. I just like to move them. Yes, Cindy, that does mean it's non-editable. But if you don't want to step through all of those little, if you don't want to have to fast forward through them, see, she wants total just running stitches. That's all she wanted. So if she's not creating an applique, this is not a digitizing program. So I'm having to come up with what she wanted instead of like in PE Design. I would simply draw it. But in here, the only way to draw the line comes to an applique. Well, I don't want all those applique parts to stitch. So if I preserve it in stitches, then yes, non-editable, and it recalculate, but not BRF. If it was the original the original applique. So you really want to get your size the way you want it before you can preserve it as stitches, because that allows you to delete those other things. My mic keeps cutting out. Hold on, let me switch mics then. Is this better? So what am I trying to say? The preserve as stitches allows you to get rid of those stitches that you don't need. She didn't need the placement stitch or the applique material stitch. All she needed was the covering stitch. So that gave it a better, that just makes it easier for her. So the last question that came in, I do believe, is how to do spiral text in PE Design 11. So let me switch back over here and let's go to PE Design 11. Now there's two ways to do this. It depends on how big you want your spiral to be. So if you go to your import menu and you choose outline shapes and you choose miscellaneous as your category, there is a spiral that is built in here. You can adjust that spiral however you want it. You can make it tighter, or smaller or bigger. You can't increase the spirals on this particular one, but I'll show you another way to do that in a minute. Then you would simply come in and grab your text tool and type in the text that you want. So let me change to small text. And I'm using small text today because I'm going around a tight spiral. So here we are. We wish you a Merry Christmas. So I'm going to select all of that. And then I drew around it. Or you can do Control A on your keyboard for select all, fit text, and fit text to outline. And then just leave all of these settings here at the defaults and click OK. And you'll notice your text goes around in the spiral. If you want to move it along that spiral, the easiest way to do it is to grab the diamond inside of the first letter. And let me zoom in on that. So you'll notice when I put my cursor over that, it has a arrow, double arrow, and a line right next to the A. That's telling me that lets me move it left and right. So if I take that first letter and move it to the front of the beginning of that spiral, it moves everything along that path. So that takes care of all of that. All right. If you don't like what you've got, you can always release the text from path. So if you go back up to fit text, you can release text from outline and it's done. Now, I said I'd show you how to get a tighter spiral. Let's go for that one. Let me go zoom all the way out here and grab my circle drawing tool. I'm going to hold my shift key down to draw a perfectly symmetrical circle. And I selected spiral stitch. So spiral stitch. And then I went to my sewing attributes and I made my density as low as it would go. And I chose the enter this one right here. So you can, if I go back to the defaults, this is what the defaults are. If I reduce that density as low as it goes, you'll notice that my spiral gets much looser. Okay. And then I wanted it to start from the inside going out. Otherwise, my text is going to be laid around the outside. Now, if I try to fit this path to text, right now, it's going to fit it to the circle because that's what I drew. I drew a circle, so it would just go around the outside of that circle, and that's not what she wanted. So let's undo that. What you can do, though, is go up to your shapes menu, grab your shape, go up to the shapes menu, and we have this button called Convert Region to Line. So that's going to convert this fill area, which is what this is. Even though it looks like a line, it is a fill stitch. It'll turn it into an outline. So we're going to click Convert Region to Line. So this is just as if I drew that outline. So I can then grab everything again, go fit text to outline. Leave all my settings again at the defaults and click OK. And you'll notice now it's gone around that spiral. So let's zoom into the center of that and click off of everything and then click on the text. And once again, to move it around, if I click on that part, I grab the A with the line to the left of it, and then I can drag that to where I want it to begin. You'll notice how that works. Okay, so that is how you would do spiral text in PE Design. There is not a spiral text tool because you can fit your text to any line that you want to. So that's a good one. Yeah, Fran, for PE Design, you definitely have all of my shortcuts on that one. Simply Applique is similar to BES4. It is a lower version of the program, basically. It's a base level applique program, so you don't have that preserve as stitches. So you would have to skip the steps that I showed her how to do. So if you're wanting to create something with a line, you could do it. You just would have to fast forward through that till you got to the running stitch, covering stitch on your sewing machine. Okay, other questions? You want me to fit text? So in BES Blue and BES4, you can do spiral text as well. Let me come over to BES Blue and we'll do that one. So let me delete that guy. Let's go to our home tab. Can I move the E? Yes, I can, Jennifer. Hold on. Which E do you want me to move? This one? All I have to do is grab it, same way as I did the other one. And you'll notice everything behind it moves. So you can certainly move it as much as you want. If you want to change the overall kerning on everything, if you go to your text attributes, you can change your kerning to a negative number, and that moves all of your letters closer together. But you'll notice it resets everything back to the beginning. So then we would have to go back and move our W to begin with again. So take that back. And I could take this further. Because what that did, you'll notice it's a negative 2.2 on my kerning. So that's all you have to do. Yes, Terry, I still have the mouse pads that are available. All right, so let's go back over to BES Blue and grab my first tab here. And let's see here. Let's go to text, spiral text, and click on our design page to activate the tool. And just simply type it. So this is one of those times that BES Blue and BES 4 is a little bit easier to manipulate than PE Design, just simply because you have that capability of doing what you want and you can adjust where you want it to be. So if you want the circle tighter, where is my little guy? Oh, here. So you see this little black dot? That allows you to make the radius of the circle looser or tighter. And you have to really kind of play with this one to get it. There we go. Up, let go, and you'll notice how it gets tighter. And you can use any of your fonts here for this one. But I do think spiral text looks better when it's a block style font. And if you want to move the kerning of them, the diamonds in front of them, that's it. This is one of those that it gets really weird. So sometimes it's easier just to move the letter itself and rotate it. Okay. All right. So there you go. Let me see here. Can I make those snowflake names that were popular years ago? I think I can. Let's see if I know what you're talking about here. So let me select all and delete. All right. Let's grab our name and type in CINDY. And you can, let's go back to default kerning because the last kerning that you applied is what you get here. And let's find us a fancy dancy font. Okay. So if I want to make the snowflake letters, I would use arrange copy and choose circle copy. And then I would say how many I want it to go around. So let's say we want it to have 8 of them. I want them to face outward. Draw my circle, and as you see, as you rotate it, it rotates where the name is going. Left click, and it's set. Now I'm not real happy with that one, so let's undo that and make our circle a little bit bigger and not make as many in there. Number, let's do 6. That's better. When you like the arrangement, simply left click, and there you go. If you want it going the opposite directions, because those are kind of flipped weirdly, let's go undo that and see what else we can do here. Let's take this guy and circle copy. We wanted to, let's go this direction. I like that better. And that makes your little snowflake name. Okay. The same thing would work in BES Blue and BES 4 if I wanted to do that. Let's come back over here and look at BES. Let's just do new page here. On this one, you would go to your Tools tab, select it, Arrange, and on Circle. So this is how you get, if you wanted them flipped, you could reflect them instead. I want to auto rotate. Let's see here. We're going to have to change the angle. And as you rotate, it changes everything. So there is my Snowflake name with that font. That's kind of cool, actually. Click OK, and you've got your Snowflake letter. All right, other questions today? Y'all are asking some good ones while we're doing it. No, Fran, I do not have a Canvas Workspace workbook. I have really addressed a large portion of Canvas Workspace here, and I did quite a bit in, trying to think. I did some in the ScanNCut playbook, but I've done quite a bit through these lives. Yes, ma'am. I put backing on mine. I put adhesive backings on mine, double-sided adhesive. So you can use the Brother stuff. You can use Heat and Bond. The Brother is iron-on fabric applique contact sheets is the Brother stuff. You can use Heat and Bond Light. You can use Heat and Bond. You can use, there's a product that I really like that's a Bosel product. It's a nice, lightweight, fusible. There's tons out there that you can use. Pick your favorite one. What I will say is if it has a sticky to it, like the Floriani stuff, make sure you cut it with the paper on it and cut it just simply because if you don't leave the paper on it, it is going to be stuck like Chuck to your mat. So you might rather, with that one, you may rather use your fabric mat, cut it face down, and then cut it so that your paper stays on to your stuff. Any other questions, guys? No? All right. Then let's see here what else we can play with. I could do that. Hold on. Which program, Cindy? We'll come back over here and flip it on both. So if I but after my Y, I put a space, an asterisk, or a symbol. Okay. Let me delete. Tool, we're going to select it, arrange on circle, and you choose however many you want. Oh, that's kind of fun. So, and you can also increase your number. So if you wanted 7, 8, 9 of them, when we get to 9, you don't get the Y. So that's probably a better choice right there. Click OK. There you go. And in PE Design, if I did the same thing, oops, no, that doesn't exist for that. So let's see about that. I do want an asterisk, so let's just pick a different font. So if you get a square, that square will actually sew. That's telling you the character for that particular character does not exist in that font. So you would need to pick a different font that actually has it. So let's say I go with this one. And I'm going to do a little tricky here on this one. I'm that same character. So you see how my A is sitting on top of the line this time? That allows me to move my asterisk down. So now let's do my circle copy. Arrange copy, circle copy, and we can increase our number and draw our circle. There you go. So I don't see why it wouldn't, Patricia. It just I don't see why it wouldn't. Now that center part, you may want to do a space instead, just because the center part, if the things are overlapping and you do it on a card, it's going to perforate it very tight. It would perforate your card and punch out a hole instead of having stitches there. So I would basically leave a space there so that you have an open space. You don't want your letters to overlap. If you're doing it with a card or in PE design, make your circle bigger to where your letters don't overlap. Okay, guys. Any other questions? Y'all are good with questions today. So any holiday sales going on at my website? There are sales going on at my website. There are codes. There's one for BES4, which is LET4. And then there's one for my PE design book, which is DIG10. I'm expecting those in this week. I ran out last week. So if you're waiting on a book, don't worry. It will be here this week and be shipped out to you. If you live outside of the country and you would like to purchase one, you need to contact me directly because I do those separately, just simply because I got spammed one time and I don't want to have that happen again because that was an expensive spam. Somebody really got me good on that one. It was a product that I wasn't selling anymore, so I had to special order it. It was shipping out of the country and they had stole somebody's card. So I got hit twice, basically. I had to pay for the product that was basically stolen from me, and I had to pay the other people back. So it cost me twice as much, which was not a fun experience. So you'd like to think that people wouldn't do that, but yeah, they do. So that's what I've done to do. So let's see here, Sharon. Do it at the ScanNCut. Because if you increase it at the machine, you're just increasing the size of your design. So if you're wanting to increase the size of the cut file, then you'll do that at the ScanNCut by adding an offset. So if you want to see what that looks like, you're going to have to live with my spotty mic for this one for a second. I don't know why it's being spotty, but we're going to have to go with the spotty mic for a minute. I'll try to talk loud enough to be able to do that. My nose just keeps itching, guys. Let's go back over to the ScanNCut, and I'll show you where that is. So on your ScanNCut, let's say we pick this design right here. I'll go ahead and say okay. When you go into Edit, Object Edit, this is your offset. You can increase it to however far you want it to be. Once you've done that, you want to get rid of the original file. So if I touch OK, I would cycle through to get the original file and delete it. That way, only the offset portion has been created. That's what I would personally do. All right. Let me go back to the other microphone so that we stay decent. Okay. Any other questions, guys? No? Well, let's see here. I'll give you one last trick today. I'm going to kiss a fool. Well, my husband will be home in a little while. I guess that's it. But I certainly have an itchy nose today. I don't know what's going on. Oh, I do too. Y'all know that my floors got redone. Um, and it's really wearing me out. There's no sneezing. It's just my nose is itching to beat the band today. But I'm pretty sure it's because of the smell coming from my upstairs. Okay, so one last little snippet for you today. Let's go into our import menu and go to a fold. Actually, let's see if we've got something in our design library here. Holidays. Do I have a star? No, not one that I want. There we go. I'm going to make my hoop a little bit bigger. I think I have a 4x4 on here, so let's make it a 5x7. Okay. So you guys can do this. Since we're talking text today, let's talk things that you can do with your text. So let's type in joy, and let's type in love, and let's type in happiness. Wait, give me some holiday words. Merry and we'll do one last word. Okay, so we're going to start up here at the top, and I'm going to leave that font in that font style, but we're going to change our font style for the other words. So let's come in here and let's do love here. And we'll make it just a little bit bigger. And then we can change Mary to something else. So you'll notice I pick my font. I've said this many a times. I pick my font after I've typed in my word to see if I like it or not. Let me try this one. I kind of like that font. That's pretty. And let's make family something else. Y'all are coming up with good ones. You can make those yours when you go do this, because this is an activity that you can easily do. Let's come and grab this one and make it so this one I'm going to make a little bit bigger than the others, just simply because I want it to, we're making a tree, so we want it to get bigger as we go. And last one. Ooh, no, that one's small, so let's pick something else. All right, so now you can come and play with this all you want. I'm not sure I like that gather. Let's see if we can find a different one. It just doesn't look good with that font that's above it. So let's see here. Let's see what that one looks like. That's better. And I'm going to reduce that kerning. So the kerning is the space between the letters. So I'm tightening those letters up. And I'm going to do the same thing on my friends here. I'm going to move that R like I showed you earlier. We're going to move that over. And there we go. Now, if you want a stem on your trunk on your tree, grab your rectangle drawing tool and simply draw a square at the bottom, or you could put a little bitty word. We could make a vertical word. Let's put Noel. Actually, let's make Noel all caps. And instead of going straight text, do vertical text. We need to change our spacing back to the default, and let's come and choose a different font that's more blocky. You can tell I'm being particular today. So let's increase that spacing a little bit so those letters are spaced a little bit further apart, and then I'm going to resize that text to where it's not as big. There we go. Now let's shrink our text and change the color to brown. So I'm going to change those to brown, the stem to brown, or the trunk to brown, not the stem, the trunk. We're going to change our reds to green. And there you go. You have yourself a Merry Christmas tree there ready to go. Play with it all you want. You are the designer of that. That gives you the concept of what you would do. And you could do the same thing in BES4 when you got to the last item. You would do vertical text instead of straight line text. So same concept over here in BES Blue or BES4 because it would work the same. You would have to find a star. So let's go look and see what we've got in our designs. I'm pretty sure we have a little star right here. So we could grab that star. I left clicked a couple of times. So there's my star. And if you don't want those little swirlies on it, select those swirlies and undo. Select the swirlies and delete them. So there we go. I'm going to rotate my star a little bit here. And you would do the same thing. So I must have cap locks on. We're going to apply. You can tell I'm using two different programs today because I'm having a hard time deciding. Cheer. And let's do gather. This is enough. Oops, helps if you spell right. Okay, so let's go ahead and change our words all to green so that it'll separate them from the others. Let's grab all these words. Green. Green, green, the color is green. There we go. So we'll leave that one at Drake. Let's come and pick a different font for the others. Let's try Elise. That one's kind of fun. Figaro. But you can see the difference there. So let's see here. Let's make that one. How big can I make that? There's a question mark that tells me how big I can make that. So 0.98 for a satin stitch. So I can come up and make that 0.98 and apply it. Let's see what we've got. There we go. That looks more proportional. Let's come and grab friends and see what else we've got. Let's go upwards this time. How about doodle? Not quite as elegant. Let's try something else. I like that one. You can tell which fonts are my favorites because I tend to pick them all the time. So that one can be made much bigger. So let's go ahead and make it 0.98. Let's go make it 1.26. There we go. Much better. And then let's pick gather. Y'all can hear my puppy starting to talk. She's saying, "It's time, Mama, it's time." Let's see. Merlin's kind of fun. Once you've got that, to put your stem on it, you choose vertical, your trunk on it, you choose vertical text. And let's go with small text this time. So I'm going to do my font category filter and choose small fonts. And let's see what we've got here that will work. Bambino may be fun. There we go. There's my Bambino. If you wanted 2 words there, you could certainly put 2 words in. And you have your project done. So let's see here. And I mean, you could do your family's name there. There's a lot of time. It is a good font play experience, but you could do your family's name. I'm hunting for doggy biscuits here so that we can get her a little calmer until it's time to go potty. Here you go. Because she's talking to me saying, "It's time, Mama, it's time." So that's y'all. I have the smartest dog in the world. She knows what time it is to go watching. So if there's questions between now and next week, obviously please send those in, because as you see, that's where I get my ideas from as to what we're going to talk about this week. But that's a real quick, easy way to do a towel. And I would certainly, if you've got BES Blue or BES 4, I would apply a recipe to it, because that would be an easier way to make sure that all of your settings are the same. So if you selected all and right mouse click and say apply recipe and choose towel, if you're going on a towel, it will automatically adjust those properties for you for the towel. And I would probably go and choose arrange, align, and center. Actually, horizontal center is what I meant to do there. So horizontal center. Boy, I am not a grid girl, I can tell. Horizontal center to make sure that you're good. Let's make sure we fit in a hoop. I don't know what hoop I had last. Let's go with a 5x7 and see what we've got. Rotate 90 degrees. Nope. Take it off the rotate. So I'm a little bit large for that. So I could do fit hoop, or I could just manually move things around a little bit and make some things smaller. So I might start with making my joy smaller, but it's not going to be massively smaller. The only thing it might mess with if I do fit hoop would be that little love down at the bottom. So I might reset it to its default size. Just keep that in mind. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed today. I shall see you next week, next Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel. I just showed my age on that one. So Batman. Have fun, enjoy, play with your fonts. Those are great ways to do dish towels. Other Christmas ideas that I would tell you would be put your Christmas recipes, your cookie recipes on there, or any special holiday recipes on a towel. So using your small fonts in both PE Design and BES 4 is a great way to make a recipe towel. Those are nice gifts that are personalized, especially if you have recipes that have been handed down over the years. Using your small fonts, and make sure that you're using the fonts that are digitized for small text. That'll be a great way to do it. So you all have a great rest of the week. Tana, I'm sorry. We'll miss you, but you're going to be on a cruise. Have fun. Enjoy yourself. So, all right, guys, y'all have a great rest of the week. And don't forget, your coupon codes are LET4 and DIG10. Okay.
So those are the 2 coupon codes for this week, and I will see you next week. Shirley, I'm not on anything else this week. Next week I am on Sewing Machines Plus on Monday for their countdown to Christmas. I'll be there on the persona 2 times, once in the morning and once in the afternoon, I think. And then next Thursday, I'll be on with All Brands doing ScanNCut Christmas ideas or quick, easy gift ideas. So that's what I've got going next week. Next week is much more busy than this week, I believe. Next week is the 13th and the 16th, right? Yeah. So on the 13th, I'm with Sewing Machines Plus. On the 16th, I'm with allbrands.com. So I'll see you all later. Have a good rest of the week. Bye-bye.